friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I have been thinking about the Outrider quite a bit and why it has come to the game. Now, I'm excited to see more material, more stuff coming from old video games, old canon. I think it's great. I think it's a huge, tip of the cap to fans of all types. This Star Wars has brought us all in from different areas, right? There's people who grew up with the originals and everything since, right? And then there's people who grew up with the prequels, and now there's people growing up with the sequels. God bless them. But we're coming from all areas of the game or all areas of the universe. And I was thinking about this Outrider, and a lot of people. I was watching the Escape podcast, and one of the conversations that was being had was, why now? Why the Outrider of all ships? Why this one, and why a rebel ship coming to the game? Now, this has brought me to wonder that, to ask the question, why the rebel ship? Now, if you look at the fleet, this is over on SWGOH, you have got 3 different Imperial ships. You have got 1 rebel ship. You've got the Radis. You've got two Galactic Republic. So it's really weird, right? Considering that the current ship meta is either the Executor or the Negotiator. It's one of the two, right? And if you have the Executor, you're probably top 50. If you have the Negotiator, you're probably top 200. Now, to be honest, there's a problem with ships. There's a big problem with ships. And that's what I want to discuss today, is this problem with ships and how the Outrider is kind of going to be the turnaround. Now, let me jump back over to the game. The real problem with ships starts here, right here on defense. They're now requiring us to place 3 different in-game players, 3 different fleets. Now, new players, this isn't as big of a deal for you, except that you're going to have to eventually farm ships, and you're going to have to eventually be able to use them effectively. I do not use my ships effectively. That's clear. Look at this. It was terrible, right? But the problem with ships comes from the love that has been placed everywhere but ships. I think of ships as like the redheaded stepchild of all of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Because if you look at ships, let's just compare, right? So right now, in the main cantina, you have light side battles and you have dark side battles. There are 9 different tiers of these battles, light and dark side, which means 18 different potential battles. And if you compare light and dark side, just on the hard where you can farm, ships and characters and stuff, you have 18 nodes where you can farm various characters. Now, all of the characters in the game aren't going to get a ship. That would be ridiculous to say. But there's still a lot of characters in the game that could and should have ships. Now, just to name a few, I'm going to jump over real quick and show you, because there are quite a few that need to be seen. Now, I've shown you guys this a couple of times. These are 40 different characters or 40 different ships that could be introduced into the game without a huge problem, okay? 40 different ships who either have characters in the game already, or 40 different characters, 40 different ships who could come to the game with that, because they would have, they'd be pilotless or something like that. Now, great list. This is a solid list. Now here's some more that are totally iconic, and I would love to see some of them. Case in point, where are you? Hondo Ohnaka. Love me some Hondo Ohnaka. But as I was looking at this, back in the day, this is a SWGOH.GG one of the original, this was from 2016 on March 6th. So this was a spoilers page, but it lists all of the characters that are in game currently or then that had been marked unobtainable. Okay. And here you have a number of characters, which, I mean, some of these we got already, great. Some of these we didn't, Dark Barris Offie, that's dope. Some of these are ships. Now, jumping over here, someone put together, and I saw this was posted just recently. These are all the ships listed in that data mine. Now some of these we could see come to the game, and I think it would be awesome. But let's think about how long it would take for them to introduce. Like, let's say that they come out tomorrow and say, hey, you know what? We're going to introduce this list of ships. There's 40 ships. Are they going to introduce it all at once? No, of course not. For CG to make money off of this, they would have to revamp it. They would have to have some kind of major change. This is why I think a big change is coming. Now, one thing that I think is going to change here in the next little bit has to do everything to do with GAC and Fleet. Now, back in the day, it was actually back in, when they went ahead and they changed the arena system to GAC being this big thing. Right now, the only place that you can get shards or crystals outside of Grand Arena is your fleet. You have to be top 50, right? I have always felt like this was going to change here soon, but I do believe that they're starting to move the ball here in the next little bit. I think the introduction of the Outrider is going to be the thing that kind of sparks the fire that ignites the change. It'll be the catalyst, if you will. Now, as I was going to mention earlier, you've got the light side, the dark side. It's just harder to farm ships in this game. Now, it makes sense that it's going to be harder to farm ships because many of your ships need multiple characters to crew them, right? So it should be easier to farm characters than farm ships. But it comes to a big problem here in the fleet battles. I think in the coming days, what we're going to start to see is an expansion on these different tiers. Right now, we have 5 potential tiers, and the nodes in the tiers typically aren't nearly as long as the nodes in the character or for the character shards. But what we'll see, I think, is the fleet arena or the fleet battles looking more like this and a lot less like what we see here. A lot less like this. Notice that there's half as many fleet nodes on each individual tier. There are only 5 instead of 9 different tiers. I think what we're going to see is a big change to this. I think what we will also see is a smaller change to the fleet arena rewards. I think it's possible that there will be a higher reward, or at least maybe up to 500, and then this will expand out lower and lower and lower, just like Arena used to. And then you will see Fleet becoming more competitive, and you'll see people being able to access different modes and different things. Now, additionally, with these additional nodes, additional tiers for the fleet battles that I believe will be coming, I absolutely think that, we'll start to see more and more ships introduced. By simply making the adjustment from what we have now to 4 extra tiers, you're going to have at least, even if they didn't include more nodes, you're going to have 10, 20 potential more ships added to the game. Now, I do believe what we'll see with that is them introducing those tiers, maybe one at a time, meaning tier 6 in the month later in the month of April, tier 7 maybe in the month of June, tier 8, so on and so forth, so that players can become accustomed to these new characters, so that they can do more testing. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. I do think something needs to be changed, but I think this is how they're going to change it. They did say in the road ahead, when they were talking about the new changes to the GAC policy, that Fleet was still going to get a change of its own in the future. It has now been a quarter since that information has dropped, since the changes from Arena to GAC have become live. I think here in the next little bit, we are going to see more changes, and I think the Outrider is just the start of it. Now, having said that, what could we see? That's a video for another day. But what do you think? I mean, did I miss something? Is there more of a problem with the ships than I'm pointing out? Leave a comment in the section below. While you're in the section below, check out the links for all of my goodies. I always recommend this, guys. Audible. Every time you sign up, you help the channel. 1 free month, 2 free books. It is amazing. I'm currently listening to Star Wars Last Command. It is the final book in the original Thrawn trilogy. It is phenomenal. But leave a comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, share. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. And as always, my friends, smile and stay nerdy.